They said he was healthy, active, sharp, still played golf twice a week. Until one morning, he didn't wake up. The autopsy said it was a heart attack. Massive. But here's the part nobody talks about. His body had been whispering for a week, and no one, not even him, was listening. Hi, I'm Harold. I'm 76 years old. I've lived through one cardiac event. And today, I want to tell you the 10 early warning signs of a heart attack, the ones that show up days, even a week before it happens. These signs aren't dramatic. They're not what you see in movies. But they are real. And if you learn to recognize them, you might save your life, or someone you love. Because a heart attack doesn't strike without warning. It sends signals. Through your chest, your breath, your energy, and sometimes through your gut. Have you ever felt off but ignored it? Comment, I've felt it, if something once didn't feel right, but you brushed it off. And stay with me. Because sign number 3 is the one that nearly ended my life. Let's start with the first quiet whisper your heart might be sending. Here's what most people get wrong about heart disease. They think it happens suddenly. That one day you're fine, and the next, you're clutching your chest, gasping, collapsing. But that's not how it works. Not really. In reality, your body often sends out early signs of heart disease, small, subtle warnings, up to a week before a heart attack strikes. Sometimes even longer. These aren't the big, dramatic symptoms you see on TV. They're quiet, sneaky. Easy to ignore. Easy to explain away. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe it's something I ate. Maybe it's just aging. But the truth is, these heart attack symptoms a week before, they're your second chance. Your lifeline. A whisper before the scream. They come in patterns. Fatigue that doesn't go away. Shortness of breath when climbing stairs. Sweating at rest. A tightness in your chest you can't quite place. What makes them dangerous isn't how severe they are. It's how familiar they feel. How easy it is to mistake them for normal. That's why, in this video, I won't just tell you what the signs are. I'll tell you why they happen. So you don't just hear the warning, you understand it. Have you or someone you know ever said, "He seemed fine the day before the heart attack"? Drop a red heart if that rings true for you. Because chances are, they weren't fine. Up next, let's talk about sign number 1. The one that often shows up first, and gets ignored the fastest. It starts small. You get tired walking to the mailbox. Or folding laundry makes you want to sit down for a minute longer than usual. That's fatigue. But not just any fatigue, unexplained fatigue. This isn't the kind of tired you get from staying up late or working too hard. It's the kind that creeps in even when you've rested. A heaviness in your body. A drag in your step. A feeling like everything is just harder. And for many people, it's one of the early signs of a heart attack. Here's why. Your heart is a muscle. If it's not getting enough oxygen-rich blood, due to narrowing arteries or poor circulation, it has to work harder to do the same job. That means less blood gets to the rest of your body. And when your muscles, your brain, your organs aren't getting the fuel they need, your energy tanks. This is why fatigue and heart disease go hand in hand. It's your body's way of saying, "I'm running low. Something's off." At first, you might feel it only during exertion. Walking, climbing stairs, carrying groceries. But over time, it can show up even at rest. Lying down and still feeling drained. Waking up and still exhausted. The danger is that we write it off. We say, "I'm just getting older." Or, "I need more coffee." But if your tiredness is new, worsening, or unexplained, your heart might be waving a yellow flag. Have you ever felt tired in a way that just didn't make sense? Comment, "This hit home," if fatigue is something you've been ignoring. And don't go anywhere, because sign number 2 can feel like anxiety, but it might actually be your heart crying out for air. Have you ever found yourself out of breath, just from walking across the room? You pause. Take a deeper inhale. But it doesn't feel like enough. That sensation, shortness of breath, is one of the most overlooked early warning signs of heart disease. Especially when it happens without exercise, or even while you're resting. Here's why it matters. Your heart's job is to pump oxygen-rich blood to your body. If your heart is struggling, whether due to narrowed arteries, a weakening muscle, or increased pressure, your lungs try to pick up the slack. You start breathing faster, deeper, but the oxygen still isn't circulating the way it should. It's not just breathlessness. It's your body saying, the system isn't working right. This is why shortness of breath and heart disease are so closely connected. And why it often shows up a week, or more, before a heart attack. Some people describe it as a tightness in the chest. Others say they feel like they just can't get a full breath. For many, it starts only with exertion, like walking uphill or climbing stairs. But as things worsen, it can happen while sitting, watching TV, even sleeping. Some wake up gasping, thinking it's anxiety or a bad dream, when in fact, it could be the early stages of heart failure. Have you experienced breathing that feels not quite right, even when you're doing very little? Comment, "I've felt this," if that sounds familiar. And don't stop here, because sign number 3 doesn't feel like pain. It feels like pressure. And it's one of the most dangerous signs to miss. It's not sharp. It doesn't stab or scream. That's why most people ignore it. But chest discomfort, a dull ache, a tightness, a subtle pressure in your chest, might be the clearest early sign of a heart attack. And the most dangerous part? It often doesn't feel like pain at all. Here's what to watch for. You might feel like someone's pressing down on your chest with a firm hand. Or like there's a band wrapped tightly around your upper body. Some describe it as a weight or a feeling that something just isn't right behind the breastbone. This isn't a one-time stabbing pain, it's a slow, creeping discomfort. And it's often dismissed as indigestion, muscle tension, or stress. But when your heart muscle isn't getting enough oxygen, it starts to send out signals. That pressure feeling is your body's alarm bell. Men often feel it in the center of the chest, while women may experience it more in the upper back or jaw. And for both, it might come and go, making it feel even more harmless. But if that sensation lasts more than a few minutes, or if it comes back repeatedly over a few days, it's not just gas. It's not just tiredness. It might be your heart warning you, a week before it fails. Ever felt a strange chest tightness that didn't feel like normal pain? Drop a comment, "Felt the pressure," if this sounds familiar. And stay close, because next, we'll talk about a sign that shows up on your skin. Even when your body is completely still. You're sitting still. No heat. No workout. No fever. And yet, you feel cold sweat running down your back or collecting on your forehead. It's easy to brush off. It's just stress, you tell yourself. But when you haven't moved and you're breaking into a cold sweat, it could be one of the most serious early signs of a heart attack. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. When your heart is under stress, like when it's not getting enough oxygen, your body activates the sympathetic nervous system. That's your fight or flight response. It's the same system that kicks in when you're in danger. Like when you're scared or running for your life. But during a heart episode, your body activates this system internally, even if you're just sitting in a chair. This triggers cold sweats, cool, clammy perspiration that comes from nowhere. It's the body's attempt to cool itself under perceived threat, even if the threat is inside, not outside. In a study of heart attack patients, a surprising number recalled experiencing unexplained sweating days before the event. But most thought it was just anxiety, or blamed the weather. Here's the key difference. If you're sweating during rest, If the sweat is cold, not warm. If it's paired with other symptoms like fatigue or chest discomfort, then it's not just nerves. It's your body's alarm system. Ever experienced a sudden sweat for no reason? Comment, cold warning, if that's happened to you or someone you know. And don't go anywhere, because next, we'll look at a sign that hides behind digestion. Nausea could mean something far more serious than an upset stomach. You think it's something you ate. Maybe a mild stomach bug. A wave of nausea, some burping, and discomfort in your upper belly. But sometimes, those aren't signs of a bad meal. They're one of the most misleading early symptoms of a heart attack. Here's why. The heart and the stomach are closer than we think, not just physically, but neurologically. The same nerve that helps control digestion, the vagus nerve, also connects directly to the heart. So when your heart is in distress, it can send mixed signals along that nerve. And your digestive system responds. This can cause nausea without a clear cause, a sudden drop in appetite, feeling bloated or off in your gut, even vomiting, in more serious cases. It's especially common in women and older adults, and it tends to show up quietly, long before chest pain ever appears. And here's what makes it tricky. Most people don't associate nausea with the heart. They take an antacid, lie down, and wait for it to pass. But if this feeling is new, persistent, or paired with fatigue, cold sweats, or dizziness, don't assume it's just your stomach. It could be your heart whispering through your gut. Have you or someone you know ever felt sick to their stomach, only to learn it was something more serious? Comment, it felt like nausea, if this symptom resonates with you. And stick with me, because next, we'll talk about dizziness. Not the kind that passes quickly, but the kind that might mean your brain isn't getting enough blood. It can happen when you stand up, or while walking, or even just sitting. Suddenly, the room tilts. Your vision blurs. You feel off balance. That's dizziness, and when it comes on unexpectedly, it may be much more than dehydration or fatigue. It may be an early sign of heart disease. Here's why. Your brain needs constant oxygen, and that oxygen comes from blood pumped by your heart. When your heart can't pump efficiently, because of a blocked artery, a weakened muscle, or increasing internal pressure, less blood reaches your brain. The result? You feel lightheaded. Like you might faint. Like, your thoughts aren't quite landing. It's your brain saying, something's missing. And what's missing, is oxygen. This isn't just about standing up too quickly. It's about reduced cardiac output, your heart failing to deliver what your body needs, when it needs it. Some describe it as floating, wobbling, not being fully present, or a strange sense of unsteadiness they can't quite explain. And while many things can cause dizziness, inner ear issues, medications, when paired with chest pressure, shortness of breath, or cold sweats, it's time to stop guessing and start checking your heart. Have you ever felt that kind of weird dizzy that didn't feel normal? Comment, I've felt this spin, if you've experienced unexplained dizziness. And stay tuned, because next, we'll explore the kind of pain that doesn't show up where you expect it, but radiates to places you might never associate with a heart in trouble. You don't feel it in your chest. Instead, the discomfort shows up in your left arm. Or your jaw aches. Maybe it's a tension-like pain in your neck or a dull strain in your upper back. And because it's not in the chest, most people ignore it. But this is what doctors call referred pain, and it's one of the most confusing yet critical heart attack warning signs. Here's how it works. When your heart is in distress, especially during the days leading up to a cardiac event, it sends pain signals through nerves that share pathways with other parts of your body. Your brain can't always tell the difference. So instead of saying, your heart hurts, it says, your shoulder feels tight. Your arm feels sore. Your jaw feels uncomfortable. Your neck feels strained. In women, this pain often shows up in the jaw and upper back. In men, it's more common in the left arm and shoulder. But for both, the key is, the pain isn't muscular. It's internal. And it doesn't go away with movement or massage. If you're sitting still, and your arm, jaw, or neck suddenly starts to ache. If the pain feels deep, or radiates outward instead of staying in one spot. And if it's paired with fatigue, dizziness, or cold sweats. That's your heart's signal. Not your muscles. Have you or someone you know ever felt pain in the arm or jaw, but thought it was just tension? Comment, didn't expect the pain here, if that rings true. And up next, we'll look at a sign you can actually see with your eyes. Swelling where it shouldn't be, and what it might mean about your heart. You notice your socks leave a deeper imprint than usual. Or your shoes feel tighter, even though you haven't gained weight. Your ankles look puffier in the evening, and sometimes, your fingers do too. This isn't just water weight. This is swelling, and it could be your heart's way of waving a red flag. When your heart isn't pumping efficiently, especially in early congestive heart failure, blood starts to back up in the veins. The result? Fluid leaks into the tissues, especially in the lower extremities, where gravity keeps it there. That's why leg swelling and heart disease are so closely connected. And why ankle edema, a fancy name for puffiness near your feet, can be one of the earliest visible symptoms of a failing heart. It often starts subtly. Swelling at the end of the day. Rings or watches feel tight. Skin that stays dented when you press on it. And over time, if the cause isn't addressed, that swelling can spread upward, into the legs, abdomen, even the lungs. This isn't about standing too long or eating salty food. It's about fluid retention linked to heart function. Especially if it's new, persistent, or paired with fatigue, shortness of breath, a history of high blood pressure or heart issues. Have you ever noticed unexplained swelling in your feet or hands? Comment, I've seen the swelling, if this has happened to you or someone you care about. And keep watching, because next, we'll cover a surprising symptom that's not physical at all. It's emotional. And it might be your nervous system reacting before your heart even fails. You're lying in bed. No noise. No real reason. And yet, your mind won't slow down. Your chest feels tight. Your heart races just a bit. You turn left, turn right. Sleep won't come. This might not be just anxiety. It could be your nervous system reacting to something deeper, an early warning sign of a heart attack. Let's talk about how that works. Your autonomic nervous system has two main branches. Sympathetic, fight or flight. Parasympathetic, rest and repair. When your heart is under subtle distress, like reduced oxygen or rising pressure, it can activate the stress side of your nervous system, even if you're not aware of the cause. The result? A low-grade panic with no trigger. Feeling of impending doom. Sudden nighttime awakenings. Restlessness or early morning insomnia. Studies have shown that many patients, especially women, report sleep disturbances or intense unease days before a cardiac event. And it's often dismissed as stress, aging, or even caffeine. But when your heart is trying to compensate, when your nervous system senses the imbalance before you consciously feel it, it sends you signals. And that signal might look like tightness in your chest at 3 a.m. Waking up sweating. A sense that something's wrong, even if you can't name it. Ever had a night like that, where your body felt anxious, but your mind couldn't explain why? Comment, felt the warning at night, if this has ever happened to you. And don't miss what's next, because the final sign is the one people wait for. But by the time it appears, it might already be too late. This is the one everyone pictures. The intense chest pressure. The clutching of the shirt. The feeling is like an elephant is sitting on your chest. It's real. And when it hits, it's not subtle. But here's the truth, by the time you feel this kind of pain, you're already in the middle of a heart attack. That's why everything we've covered until now matters so much. Because this is the final alarm. Let's break it down. Severe chest pressure happens when a major coronary artery is blocked, and the heart muscle is being starved of oxygen, fast. The pain isn't sharp, it's crushing. It may radiate to your arm, jaw, and back. You might feel like you can't breathe. Like you're being squeezed from the inside out. And it doesn't let up. This isn't indigestion. It's not anxiety. It's your heart in crisis, and you need help now. If this happens, stop what you're doing immediately. Call emergency services. Chew an aspirin, if available, and you're not allergic. Do not try to drive yourself. Minutes matter. Every second without oxygen causes more heart tissue to die. Have you ever experienced, or witnessed, this kind of chest pressure? Comment, don't wait for this, if you now understand why the earlier signs are so important. And don't go yet, because in the final segment, I'll help you put this all together. And show you how to act before you ever feel this final warning. So here's what I want you to remember. The heart whispers before it screams. Those early signs we talked about, fatigue, shortness of breath, nausea, swelling, even insomnia. They're not random. They're warnings. They show up days, sometimes a full week, before a heart attack. And if you catch them early, you may never feel that final crushing chest pain. You might avoid the ER. You might avoid the ambulance. You might save your own life. So what now? Watch for patterns. Don't ignore weird symptoms. Schedule regular heart checkups. Talk to your doctor about your risks. Share this video with someone over 50, it might be the most important thing you do today. Which of the 10 signs surprised you the most? Comment below, I'm watching for it now. Let's help each other stay alert. And if you learned something today, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon. Because we've got more stories, more signs, and more real-life advice to keep your heart strong. This is Mr. Harold. Stay smart. Stay safe. And never ignore what your body's trying to tell you.